Welcome, everybody, to Journey Through the Foster Care System. This is Terry Mielitz. I am the program director out of Watertown and just wanted to give you a run through of how the foster care system kind of works through the court system. And I hope you can see this okay, that it's big enough for you. First of all, we're going to start with a case begins by the Department of Social Services getting a call about abuse or neglect. The police go with the Department of Social Services as the department cannot remove children, only the police can. They make a call to the judge, and the judge determines if there is reasonable concern for abuse and neglect. So the agency and the police actually investigate. So it's either substantiated, which means that they found reason to believe these children are in severe danger of death or harm, or it is unfounded. We're going to start with the unfounded. When unfounded, it just may be included that there's no drug or alcohol treatment needed, no counseling needed. There's just nothing going on. Sometimes we might have a parent that has a medication issue, but it can be resolved overnight. And so the children, do not get removed. They just hold and maybe place with a grandparent or somebody until mom or dad is better. Just depends on, or they just cannot collaborate, whatever's been said. When we come into play as CASA, it's because a case has been substantiated. So what happens is, first of all, me and Amy will get an email or a message letting us know that there's a 48-hour hearing. And that is held, obviously, 48 hours. There has to be we have to be before the judge, and the parents get to talk to the judge, and the judge decides if there's still enough reason to keep these children in foster care. The agency, which would be Child Protection, Department of Social Services, they're the same thing, make a recommendation of keeping the children within foster care or returning them home. At this point, CASA is just starting to learn about the case. We don't write a report or have any say. I go to court. Hopefully I get a chance to meet the parents that day. I get a document from the court called an affidavit, which is a document that actually, you know what, I'm going to pull it up here quick for you guys. I know this is going to take a little longer, sorry. But an affidavit actually lets us know why the children were removed, some basic info, not a lot. So this is what an affidavit looks like. It tells you what county it was in, who the children are, the parents. We don't have a court number at this point, but I will get that within a few days. And it just tells you some basics of where the parents live and why the child was removed. So I received that. Once I receive that, I start looking at, or Amy too, of course, we both do the same job. Once we get that, then we can start looking at who our volunteers are and who is probably in the best position to take this case. We will look at, why the child was in care, where they're placed, what is the story, because we want to make sure we get the best match possible for a CASA volunteer to child or children within care. So after that has happened, Amy and I will reach out to you guys at, usually within the first 2 weeks of the case. We want somebody assigned, and we'll give you as much information as we know. And then as much information as we know, so you can make as much of an informed decision as you can if this sounds like a case that will work with your life, with your world, and the basic information, all right? So then within usually another week, 2 at the most, they will do the preliminary protective hearing. It is also called an adjudication, which is basically just looking at the case, seeing what's going on. The judge wants to check in. She or he does some legal talk with the parents so they understand what is the worst case scenario that their children could, eventually be terminated on, and just gives them all that legal stuff that they need. Anytime during this process, children can be sent home, just depending on what's going on, what the department is finding out, what CASA is finding out. So once adjudication is done, we move into review hearings. Those can be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, just depends on how much progress the family is making. Generally, in the beginning of a case, we do 90 days because they need time to maybe do treatment, counseling, find housing, mental health treatment, find employment, anger management, set up visits with their kids, whatever is going on, whatever recommendations are made for this family from the Department of Social Services. We are also able to make recommendations if we see issues and we want parents to do things. We can put those in our court report and recommend that stuff happens. We can reach out to parents' attorneys, children's attorneys. We need to be talking to all those people so we know what is the best interest of these children. You know, what can we do to really help them? So we process through the review hearings. Court can take 12 to 15 months. If children do not go home sooner, and maybe we move into a disposition where we feel like parents just cannot keep their children safe, maybe they haven't done any of the things needed to do, or they've done them, but they're still not agreeing, you see no change in their behaviors, they're still using drugs or whatever is going on, we can ask for a disposition of parental rights, which is termination at 12 months. And generally, we are on the same page as the Department of Social Services, Child Protection. We want to be communicating with them to see what they know, what they're doing, let them know what we're doing. I think teamwork is really important, and we will always take the high road and make sure we're sharing everything that's going on. So the child's family, let's say they've worked on the plan to be reunited with their child. We will do that court review and hopefully we can get those kids home, right? Let's get them back where they belong. The permanency is at 12 months. So let's say the kids, nothing is going right and the kids can't go home. There's several things that can happen. They can go up for adoption. Now that thing is showing, I'm goofing up. Here, there we go. Let's see if I can make it bigger there. Perfect. They can go to an adoptive home. If they are almost 18, they may go into independent living services. We have children that are in group homes and residential treatment because of their behaviors. And that some kids stay there for a long time too, depending on what's going on. They could be placed in kinship care, a guardianship with relatives or friends. When they are placed in foster care, they either go into a foster home, group home, or relative too. So it just depends on what the case looks like. Everything is different. The judge that we have during your training will help go over this and talk to you very closely and help teach you a little more. But this way you have a little bit of info before we start the process. All right. Thank you very much. And you guys have a great day.